The mind is a powerful thing. It can create, build, and destroy. Our brains are the only thing in the world that are self-aware. At least, for now, until the robots start their uprise. Hey, I'm watching you. Roman philosopher Marcus Tullius Cicero once said, "Nothing is more noble, nothing more venerable than fidelity. Faithfulness and truth are the most sacred excellences and endowments of the human mind." I admit, I have a fascination of what our memories and subconscious are capable of, i.e. dreams. Inception delved into this concept in the mainstream in 2010. On my channel, I spoke of another movie called Comet, which I believe takes place entirely in the dream state, which, you can find on my channel. To follow that same correlation, I thought I'd bring up another movie that deals with our memories and how they can define who we are and the path we take in life. Now, to be fair, some of you have definitely seen this movie already, but to those that don't have a deep array of movies in the noggin, I'm going to be talking about a film that came out in 2004 called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. But first, let me set the scene. 2004 was a year that was a boom for sequels, with the focus being on Spider-Man 2, Shrek 2, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Even The Bourne Supremacy grossed over $180 million at the box office. It's no wonder this movie flew under the radar for the general audience. Spotless Mind lands at 80 out of 100 for the box office that year. However, don't take that lightly. Made on a $20 million budget, it still made a pretty penny. About 7,200,000,000 pennies if we're going to go into statistics. But that's besides the point. Directed by Michel Gondry, who at the time was known for directing music videos for Radiohead, The White Stripes, and Beck, who does the closing title song of this movie, Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime. That's no coincidence. This independent French filmmaker teamed up with the notorious mind-screwy writer, Charlie Kaufman, who was respectively an entirely different rabbit hole to explore someday. Starring Jim Carrey, who, with the exception of The Truman Show in '98, only showed his comedic chops. Unless, of course, you think Me and Myself and Irene was a deep character study of dissociative identity disorder, but, to each their own. And Kate, hey, it's Rose from Titanic, Winslet, lands the roles of Joel and Clementine, with the premise being as follows. Two people in a relationship that barrel toward turbulence decide to visit a company that specializes in erasing memories to essentially control all, deleting anything and everything they remember about each other. I recommend you go out and watch this movie on your own merit, as I will continue with plot points that will spoil the film for you if you haven't watched it. This definitely is one to experience for the haunting dreamlike visuals and gut-punching moments of the film. I would have directed you guys to watch it on Netflix, but it has recently been taken down by the service. Then again, you could always go to Walmart and search the bargain bin for it, so anyway, let's go on with the story. The movie starts out with the timid Joel meeting Clementine on a train ride to Montauk, with voiceover narration speaking outwardly as he seems to have a hard time getting his words out. Clementine and Joel are seemingly drawn to each other despite his inability to say much, and her outgoing personality being very much different. Now, this film's narrative is in fact non-sequential, so this is one of those movies that makes more sense a second or third time around. Mind you, it's not as bad as Memento where everything is backwards. Clementine, out of the blue, get it? Cause her hair's blue, doesn't know who Joel is anymore when he decides to visit her at work, finding out from a couple friends that she decided to go to a company called Lacuna Inc. to get a procedure to get a few memories erased.
Skorczynski was not happy, and she wanted to move on.
Lacuna fittingly being Latin for gap or cavity, which is kind of a cool connection because instead of a big corporate building, the company is reminiscent to a dentist office. Anyway, after hearing this, Joel decides to have the same thing done to himself. Once he's in this machine is where you are taken on a ride through the relationship at its worst moments and its best, as the memories are being erased from most recent to furthest back. And the movie never outright says, this is the near future, but obviously there's this technology that doesn't exist, but that's not the point. If you literally had the choice to forget about someone, would you? The B plotline follows the Lacuna employees, played by the Hulk and Frodo. My goodness, look at those sideburns. They are apparently in Joel's apartment to safely finish up with the procedure so he can wake up the next morning as if nothing had happened. Although on first watch, this part of the story seems inconsequential and unnecessary, it is important with the through line of even how the events for Joel and Clementine play out. But did you really have to jump on his bed while he's sleeping? Now, as we travel through the subconsciousness of Joel while he sleeps in his apartment, not everything seems to be bad.
I remember that speech really well.
I had you pegged, didn't I?
Yeah, the whole human race pegged.
Probably.
As the more recent rocky memories of the relationship have faded and transitioned into the bright spots, he realizes he doesn't want the happy memories between the two to be erased, pleading,
Please let me keep this memory. Just this one.
but he cannot be heard. He does the only thing he can do, run. He takes Clementine by the hand and tries to outrun the memories from being erased, weaving in and out of moments that Clementine was not actually there for, such as Joel's childhood, thinking that it would take longer for the machine to delete her if she was in places she was not physically there for. Now, it's at this point in the film you realize the potential of them being together. Interestingly enough, what helped the chemistry between the actors is having them improv a lot of the scenes. A lot of the dialogue was a result of Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet having sessions of the rehearsals talking about past relationships they had in real life. Next, Stan notices that the machine stops eradicating the memories, so he calls his boss, Dr. to solve whatever's going on. Mary swoons after him but is dismissed as he goes straight to work. That didn't last long as she kisses him anyway. Just as this happens, Mrs. pulls up and witnesses it. Even though Mary tries to explain that she was the one that made the move, it is revealed to us that this isn't the first time something has gone on between the two confidants. That's right, Mary had the very procedure Joel is going through so that she herself could move on from the affair she had with her boss. It might be important to bring up the title of the movie that isn't just a series of words someone threw together in random.org and figured it would be the title of the film. About midway through the movie, Mary tries to impress Howard by spouting a couple of old-timey quotes. This includes one from poem writer Alexander Pope. An excerpt from Louisa to Alibard reads, "How happy is the blameless vessel's lot, the world's forgetting by the world's forgot, eternal sunshine of the spotless mind, each prayer accepted and each wish resigned." This was inspired by the relationship between Peter Abelard, who was a scholar in Notre Dame in the 1100s and fell in love with one of his pupils, Heloise. They got married in secrecy from her family as it might blot in his name, as he was a teacher and she later became a nun, a blameless vestal if you will, eternally enjoying a mindset of not worrying about what the world grounds you down with, being free from that of what we don't know. In other words, ignorance is bliss. As we approach the last memories that are being erased from Joel's mind, we come to the scene on the beach where they had first met. Now, a fully regretful Joel accepts the fact that soon enough he will no longer remember who Clementine is and how much she meant to him. In a thematic way to tie in the first memory being the last memory, which is poetic in its own right. Not only is this devastating to know what's to come, and even telling Clementine in the scene that he wishes he changed what had happened by staying.
I wish you'd stayed.
I wish I'd stayed too. Now I wish I'd stayed. I wish I'd done a lot of things. I wish I'd stayed.
She leaves him with a whisper in his ear to meet in Montauk, and inevitably the memory fades and Joel wakes up and goes about his day as we seen in the very beginning of the movie. However, he instinctively gets on the train to, you guessed it, Montauk. Going on what seems to be like a take two for the relationship, Clem finds a tape Mary had sent being a recording of her less than thoughtful words toward Joel before going under for the procedure. After feeling bashful for saying those things about someone she truly doesn't remember, she awkwardly leaves. Not before he chases her out and asks for her to wait. It's clear that a remnant stays from what the machine does to you, whether it be Mary's feelings toward Howard resurfacing or Joel's repetition in meeting Clementine. I think the flaw in the erasing process goes beyond just a commentary on surgical blunders. It's that you can erase someone from your mind, but you can't erase them from your heart. It's about taking the good with the bad, the sour with the sweet. Our memories make us who we are. We need the lows just as much as we need the highs. Not only do they make us stronger, but prepare us for the reality that's ahead of us. We live in a world of uncertainty, constantly not knowing what will happen to us or who we will meet tomorrow. The impact they will have on us a week or even years from now. You can't predict the future, if you'll get hurt from a romantic relationship or even just a plain friendship. But nothing stops us from going through the motions. Coming away from this movie, I think it's important to ask ourselves, would you do it again if you could?